Welcome. Welcome to the Art and Nuance of Sport. If you're a parent, an athlete, or a coach trying to navigate this complex, growing industry, massive industry of sport, this channel is for you, where we help you navigate training, the environment you're in, and how to navigate the pathways to ultimately reach your goal of not only Division One, but that and beyond. Here we tackle serious subjects. We don't run from it, but we just don't tackle subjects for the algorithm. We tackle them to help you navigate this system to ultimately win in sport and life. Sports has become a massive industry where everyone is wants to be a part of it. And thus you have the NIL because the sporting industry is an industry that everyone wants to be a part of. And now with this massive level of competition and money and complexity and gatekeeping, how do you navigate that? Yes, I said gatekeeping. How do you navigate that? Which sports are completely insular and controlled by just a few individuals, irregardless of your level of expertise, of your self mastery? Meaning that before you can actually compete, you have to walk through certain doors. These are critical things to understand. If you're an athlete in football or what is called in America soccer or American football or basketball or track and field or tennis, volleyball, softball, right? Any of these sports, we tackle 12 major sports. And this is not something that you should take lightly. Sports is extremely serious right now, but you want to find joy in it. You want to create your environment. So the key is how can you as a parent, how can you as an athlete, how can you as a coach, how can you navigate this system without losing your soul or losing your joy? So when you lose your joy, it becomes very hard to perform. And yes, it becomes a job. A lot of athletes will say that, and you'll see it becomes a struggle. There's sort of a struggle. They're not when it becomes work in a way that mentally you're limited. You're limited in the relationships and the environment. You're not tapping into your full potential. So environment is key. For example, let's say you sign with a college or you're with a professional team that the environment is not ideal. And that is really the reality of athletics is performing in non-ideal situations. That's the key, is performing in non-ideal situations. Now, meaning situations that something about it is not good. Now, if situation is completely toxic and against your progress and your athletic development, that is likely a situation that you want to get out of. So I can tell you that right now. When it is against, when it is undermining your performance, your training, your mindset, meaning it is trying to cripple you, clearly putting obstacles in front of you that would limit your performance, that is not where you want to be. You need to change that situation. And so a lot of athletes are finding themselves in non-ideal situations. And let's be very clear, non-ideal doesn't mean a highly competitive environment. A highly competitive environment can be very good for you as an athlete. A non-ideal situation where it's very toxic, that's something different, right? Where you're actually being undermined. You're not allowed to work out. You're not getting the same type of feedback that other athletes are getting. You're being undermined in the classroom. You're being limited from actually performing. Roadblocks are being set clearly to not allow you to perform. That's not a healthy situation. And not a healthy situation, because often, as competitive athletes that we are, we tell ourselves we can win every, we can beat and we can make any situation work. And I'm here to tell you that athletes will leave a high school, they'll leave a college, and sometimes that's the right decision. And there's reasons to leave a college, being toxicity, oppression against your progress, but competition is not necessarily, where you should start. And that's where you have to look in your journey. Where are you in your journey when you look at making some of these decisions? And this is what athletes are faced with right now, and this is what we tackle. So you look at the NIL now, where everyone's hitting the portal. They're hitting the portal 2 or 3 times a year to make this generational money. That could be a strategy. And then there's a flip side of that strategy, that yes, you can maybe enter the portal, once, or you could stay at that school and perform, and to see how you can build these lifelong relationships. It is really something you have to consider. And why would you stay versus why would you leave? Well, you would stay because, one, you're at an exceptional school where not only is it athletically beneficial, but it's lifelong beneficial, meaning you'll have a strong relationship as an alumni, right? On the flip side, when you're transferring, you can't build those really deep relationships. Often the administration or coaches may look at you as just a player that came through versus a player that was foundational to the program. That's one of the key in the NIL situation, and one of the things that athletes have to consider, because it's generational money. So if you can make generational money by hitting that portal, that may be a good decision. But also, you have to look at the contract and make sure that that contract is clear on what it's going to provide for you, on what it owns. Does it own your likeness, your image, everything about you into perpetuity, meaning forever? So the art of nuance of sport is more than just training. Everyone um, has a training workout now. It's highly competitive for training, because a lot of the information is out there. So people that haven't really done it to any level now have the information to train it. And the problem with that is that when you haven't done it at any level seriously, at least beyond high school, at least to that Division 1 level, that top level, you don't understand the mindset that undergirds the physical training. And so it's key, and this isn't to undermine all coaches. There's some great coaches that haven't had that pedigree and background, but it's understanding the nuances of how people are going to pour into you. What do they have to pour into? Can they see you beyond where you're at now? Is it just a exchange that you're having with them? This sporting industry that we're in, and I've spent my whole life in it, from a performance standpoint and from an engineering standpoint, my background too. So looking at this from a highly complex level and navigating it on the situations and the obstacles that were placed in front of me. And so you as an athlete, I will say right here, if you're here on this channel, if you found this channel is for you. We will talk about the serious subject. We'll talk about the things you're facing, um, whether that's coaching, whether that's in the educational system, whether you're in a school that the environment is bad, it lacks diversity, It lacks the type of mindset you want. It lacks the level that you think you should be competing on. It lacks that level. Or you're an athlete that's navigating this all by yourself. You don't have a parent that's behind you, just based on situations and circumstances of this world we live in. Right? So it could be that situation. You don't have a coach behind you. You don't have someone really behind you, believing you. And I can tell you, just because that doesn't happen doesn't mean that you're not great or that greatness is not ahead of you. Oftentimes, when you look at sport in the past, it was often athletes that didn't have everyone in their corner, everyone rooting for them, everyone rolling out the carpet. So the art and nuance of sport is more than training. It's more than you going to the right school, going to the right academy. It includes you understanding the reason why you're doing what you're doing so that you can commit mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally to your environment, to your training, to all levels of your development. And when you're able to do that, when you're able to understand the nuances, not where you're thinking about it, not where you're in your head all the time, but you understand where you're placing yourself. You understand why you're doing this training. You understand how you fit with this coach, how you fit with this university, how you fit with this agent. What can they do for you? Are they going to ensure that you have financial sovereignty and freedom? Are people really for you? Can they talk to you through all of the situations, obstacles, and complexities that sport brings? Meaning, you need people around you that can speak to all the complexities, obstacles, challenges in a critical thinking manner that can help you overcome, that can acknowledge it, that can acknowledge the obstacles, and then what is the right strategy? What is the right mindset? How can I find the game within the game? I remember talking to a great athlete, all NBA player, very, 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 very popular. You would know who he is. Remember talking to him, and I was telling him he was having some problems with refs making bad calls, and they were targeting him. And the key was, I said, you have to find the game within the game. You have to be able to say, when they make the worst call on you, which I've seen them make fouls and different calls on you that were non-existent. I 100% agree with you. But now you have to figure out to find the game within the game. Now the game is, okay, you're going to score 25 and 10. But then the other part of the game is, the mindset of the game is, how can I not react in the worst situation? Like, now the game is, what is my best reaction in the worst situation? When they made the worst call, and then the ref, when I say something to him, he very slickly, slyly curses at me, curses me out, tells me to get the F out of his face. Oh yeah, this is stuff that happens. For sure. For sure. Referees target, players have it out for certain refs because of calls is back and forth. People are human. They're men, they're women, and they have their biases, and they have their upbringing, and they have their human failure all working together. And they have the programming from society, which things they believe they'll get away with. You place all of that into a person, and now you have this complex situation, this volatile situation that athletes find themselves in. So the key is finding the game within the game. You get to set the boundaries. Maybe an athlete pays themselves for actually not reacting. Maybe it's in their contract where the team, in these bad moments, if it is proven that it is bad, if you react a certain way, you get a bonus. The contract is up to you. Yes, there's a standard contract, but there's also some gray area that you can put in there to keep you on point, to keep you on the ultimate goal, which is excellence. Because yes, this bias, yes, this corruption, yes, this gatekeeping, yes, it's sexualizing women and not treating women properly. What we found in gymnastics a few years ago, where the Team USA gymnastics teams had a his problem for years, and Safe Sport had to step in to fix this problem, to put protocols in for how you need to interact with not only athletes, but how you need to interact with these women. And that's a different dynamic of how men, how we engage with this system, and how women need to be protected and engage with this system, this sports system. It is highly important because you have young women at a critical age that they need to be in. Environment is everything. Environment is everything. So, in the art and nuance of sport, give you the keys, give you nuggets. And my hope is that I gave you nuggets just in this opening dialogue, my first podcast, that you got value. Like, subscribe it, comment, real comment. I'll comment you back. I'll stay in comment. If you're serious, download the app. It's an Apple emerging app selection. If you can't, listen to the podcast. Let's build a relationship, and let's help you get to the ultimate goal of where you want to be. You define where you want to be. I'm Mr. Smith, and I'm out.